Welcome, everybody, to the Shero Live. I'm Beth Shero, the CEO and co founder of Shero Commerce. We have some great hot topics we are bringing live to you today from all the great events we have been to in the past month. And I'm going to be joined by Nicole and Emma from our team in the UK. Super excited to have them today. We'll be talking about loyalty, AI, paid media, and just kind of like the themes that we've seen throughout all these events and how they're connecting from EMEA to the US and steps that brands are taking to actually get ahead of these challenges to win. There's a lot of things happening in the world today of ecom, and we're just here to bring you the latest information so you can navigate it and make decisions based on what we're seeing in the market. So, without further ado, I would love to have our team join so they can introduce themselves. They're actually new to the live, but they've been at Shero for a bit now. So, let's have Nicole join from the UK to introduce herself to start. Hey, Nicole, welcome. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Yeah, all good. Excited to join the first live.
Awesome. And Emma, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
So,
Excited to
Nicole,
join
you've
you.
almost been at Shero for a year, believe it or not. I
Yeah.
know it feels like a long time. And then Emma, you just started in March.
Yeah, 2 months.
But we thought it would be a great opportunity for you to introduce yourselves to the new anybody that's joining us today, so they can get to know you and understand what you do at Shero. So why don't we kick off by introductions? You can kick it off, Nicole.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm Nicole, GM in the UK here. My background has been in e-commerce for the last 10 years, working with different brands on different projects. I've seen marketing automation projects to on-site personalization, digital transformations. And yeah, it's exciting working again in the Shopify agency landscape in the UK. Working with a lot of cool brands and figuring out how to predominantly get them onto Shopify here in the UK. It's kind of the biggest system, but also further supporting them around the fringes, around integrations and marketing.
Amazing. Thank you, Nicole. And Emma.
Hi, yeah, I'm Emma, and if you haven't met me before, I'm the new Senior Partner Marketing Manager at Shero. So my role is really to work with all our wonderful partners, and we have a lot of them, to come up with the go-to marketing strategies with them. So yeah, working on a lot with our key partners to look at different things such as like account-based marketing campaigns and how we can really get in front of new brands with shared services. My background, I've also been in e-commerce for quite a long time now, I think around 8 years. And I've always worked for agencies as well. So yeah, working in marketing roles, I used to organise the Meet Magenta UK conference. I believe that's still around. So I used to look after that a few years ago. And then I kind of went over to the Shopify side and started doing a lot of co-marketing with Shopify as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you both for joining. And you both attended Pulse in London. And just friendly reminder, they'll also be hosting one in New York. So whatever you may hear about the event, they're doing a second one if you get a little bit of FOMO and want to join in on the next event. But Pulse is put on by Vervant. They're a great agency in the UK. And they're supporting customers in the US as well. But I think that'd be great for the audience to kind of like hear from you both that you were on the ground. Like, what did you see? Was the mood, the vibe? Like, I think you've both been to Pulse like a couple of times. So like, what makes this one different?
Well, the first time that I went to Pulse, I think it was actually their first year doing it. So
Okay.
like they've been running it for around 4 or 5 years now, I think. So going back, I was just like, wow, is this the same event? Like it has just scaled massively. I think the team
Right.
have done an incredible job. And I think what really struck me was the amount of brands in the room, and just the general mood, the general vibe. I think you go to some, like, let's be honest, like Chateau Vegas, where it does feel quite intense. It feels overwhelming, and there's a hell of a lot of selling going on. Whereas like the vibe at Pulse was just people genuinely learning from each other. And I do think those events are hard to come by.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a fantastic time, and I got some really genuine conversations out of it as well. I'm sure Nicole did too.
Yeah, I think it stands above the rest in terms of its format and its quality. There's definitely been a space that needed to be filled by something like this for a while, and the guys have done an incredible job. So for anyone who couldn't make the London version, I definitely encourage you to go to the New York one. You've got countless speakers on stage talking about the challenges that they've faced, talking about the technologies that they've embraced. And yeah, it's just a really great day out. And AI was probably the hottest topic, as there is kind of everywhere.
As it is.
Some of the rooms are a bit busy, so if you're going to go to New York, I'd get yourself sat in those rooms early on, because it is on everyone.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Yeah,
Yeah.
get yourself to the top early, because we were waiting outside at some of like the more
Oh,
popular.
really? Okay.
It's busy. Yeah. But no, the insights are unparalleled, and the amount of brands in the room is incredible. So people really look forward to it. So yeah, it's great event as always. I've seen it for a couple of years now, but just gets better and better each year.
Awesome. Yeah, they put so much effort into it to make it very authentic, I think is the way I would put it from my understanding, and like just getting real people in the room that like are openly transparent and open to talk about the challenges and how they're overcoming them. So that's great to hear. Yeah, I know AI, we're gonna dig into that one. But another theme that you both kind of mentioned as we were preparing for this is about the loyalty. And we've talked on the live about loyalty a couple of times, but I think it's definitely evolving a bit. So, there were some references that said like, there were a couple of brands I think that spoke. One of them said that 40% of their revenue was coming from loyalty. And like, these are some very big numbers to look at. And Candy and Richmond also went to Lead Summit in New York, and there was a speaker that said 10% of their customers drove 41% of the revenue. So like it's just interesting, like how when you have those like very loyal customers, it can really make a big difference if you handle them correctly and give them the experience they need, right? So what were your takeaways with the loyalty discussions that our audience can learn from?
Yeah, I think the stat that you referenced there, the 40%, that was from, it's this UK brand, skincare brand called Medicate, and they
Yes.
run something quite interesting. So it's basically a subscription-based service, and they're using Loyalty Lion as their loyalty provider there. They're running the program on the technology, and yeah, they just made some really interesting points about how they was using it. So they were saying things like with loyalty and subscription-based services, a lot of your members, they self-identify. So by the time they've kind of signed up, that they've already a customer, they already love your product. So it's kind of about making the most out of that and driving campaigns for them. They talked a lot about as well, like discounting used to be a big thing when it came to loyalty schemes. That's kind of like dwindling a little bit now. I think brands are seeing less and less success when it comes to discounting, and they're driving more growth when they're offering things like experiential events to get involved in, and that's where they're seeing a lot of success, which I found that quite interesting from a marketing standpoint for sure.
Yeah, I think gone are the days where people would train their customers for discounts. I
Yeah.
think that became very, very prevalent. And I mean, I think they're not completely gone, the days of points and loyalty tiering, but I think it is definitely taking a change, and a welcome change, because I mean, I'm terrible with knowing what points I got in what like wallet and what like
Yeah.
platform. Like
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
about that one.
I
I'm
don't always
like,
keep up, but I think there are
yeah,
some people that are like super into that.
there's differences in it for sure. But I guess it's figuring out like what is it your audience like wants? What do your
Yeah.
customers want?
Yeah.
I
And
know
what's
like
going to make them redeem them? Like, what's going to make them redeem the points,
yeah,
and how can you get creative with that marketing? Because I can't remember if it was Medicaid or there was another beauty brand on this panel as well. I think it was Inculist, but one of them made a point that redemption rates on loyalty-based rewards, they matter more than enrollment into the loyalty scheme. So the customers who are making those redemptions, they're the ones you need to focus on, and you need to kind of
Mm,
figure out how you're going to make customers redeem those points.
interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even think of it that from that perspective, but I think it's valid to like really hone in on that data that you're gaining from those customers that are really engaging, right? And like from your
Mhm.
notes as well, I think the other thing that stood out, which I think is like a theme across the board, especially as we talk about AI, is how important the brand is, which I'm sure they talked about a lot. So I don't know if you want to chime in on that, but like building your brand and authority and investing in it consistently, like that is just like so priceless in this day and age. And
yeah.
it dovetails into AI and some of the AI stuff we're going to talk about. But I don't know if there were any insights about like focusing on the brand and making that a priority at all, from your takeaways.
Yeah, and I think how these brands were handling that is probably easier for beauty brands, right? But they're doing a lot of like creator content to build
Mm-hmm.
their brand these days. So through social media, and there's a big focus on that in terms of brand building, and that's kind of tying into like the loyalty schemes that they're running as well.
Yeah. I think
Nice. Okay.
the
Yeah.
brand is the moat basically now. Like with AI coming in and with everything that's changing so rapidly, you really need to go back to your roots as a brand and think what is it we're selling, why are we selling it, who are we selling it to, and doubling down. And that can be through storytelling, that can be through community. That's very much in the D2C lens, and that's maybe what will get people excited, like experience led loyalty rewards. And then you've got more of a B2B customer or a functional brand customer who probably is a bit more incentivized by a discount here and there or loyalty
Mm-hmm.
here and there. But yeah, it's figuring out what is it you stand for and doubling down on that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay. Anything else about loyalty before we switch gears to AI and data?
No, I think that's the
Yeah.
kind of
No?
main
Okay.
things, really.
How
No.
about AI?
So I was at OPM Forum, which is an event for anyone that sells business supplies. So that can be anywhere from paper to pens to toilet paper, hand sanitizer, whatever it may be. Very great event in Chicago, and AI was like everywhere, which sounds like it was the same at Pulse. I know it was a big topic at Lead Summit that Candy and Richmond went to. But it was interesting in the group I was with because there were definitely some brands that were like leading the charge and very aware of the situation and what they needed to do to like clean up their data and use AI for internal efficiencies, but also for the website, which I spoke more predominantly about how to prepare your e-commerce website to be recognized by AI, right? But there was also this gap of like, why should I worry about this now? Which I was so like
Mm,
surprised about a little bit because I'm like, you know, this is coming and I know it can feel a lot like this is so trendy and buzzy. So like, why invest now? And I think there were, maybe some connecting parallels, let's call it at Pulse, but like, what I basically said in the moment was like, just think of all the brands that like didn't prepare their e-commerce website or didn't prepare for responsive design like back in the day. You
Yeah.
had time to catch up, but it was hard. But now in the world of AI, like those years that you had time to catch up are literally days, months now,
yeah.
right? Like the
Yeah.
game has changed. So like I just literally said to them like you have to invest to get ahead. And I know it can feel like the chicken before the egg. Like, do we invest in efficiency or being recognized through the website? And like it was honestly a bit of a debate of like where to start depending on your situation. But they're still both very important to make sure your data is clean, because whatever obviously you have internally for data affects the output of AI, which we've experienced even at Shero.
Yes.
um, but also like thinking about the website, like how to get recognized, like it's such a it is a lot of work, and it's like not fun work for a lot of people, right? So like um I saw one of the facts that you brought from Pulse was 52% of brands rate AI's impact as low, and only 5% said high.
Mm.
Mhm.
So it
Yeah.
kind of was maybe somewhat similar at the event I was at, but like, again, I think if you are ahead in the game, you're going to just have the upper hand. So like, for the brands at Pulse that talked about TikTok and being, oh wait, no, maybe this Lead Summit, so I'm blending them all together, but Steve Madden talked about TikTok at Lead Summit of how like being ahead on the platform has helped them like be ahead of the game and work through the kinks faster and partner with TikTok faster. So like I think AI is the same, and like where we're at with technology and being recognized, like you need to like move as quickly as you can within reason and smartly and strategically to like get ahead of the game so you beat your competition, right? Like,
Definitely.
so I don't know if what your exact takeaways were, but I'd love to hear your thoughts of what came out at Pulse, because it's a different market, but also like these are very big brands dealing with very similar challenges.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't think people really understand yet what
Yeah.
how much it's being used. Like a lot of that 52% of people saying they're not really seeing an impact, that might not necessarily be true because their direct traffic might be actually higher, reflecting the ChatGPT pathways that they're not necessarily capturing right now. So I think there's a lot of ambiguity at the moment. But to your point, I think getting like ready and aligned for it is necessary because it will be changing. If we think about as an individual how much like I'm using AI now,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
crazy and it's going to keep accelerating and it's going to change very quickly. But we've also got a very small window of opportunity right now because right now everything is earned, right? And it's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
bought, but very soon I'm sure there's going to be the version of paid placement, which is going to then again change the game when it comes to who can spend the most to appear the highest. And right now, that's not there. So there's a massive opportunity for people to make a big impact and a big
Mhm.
dent and really secure their footing and not have to fight over, CACs essentially, which is where we've ended up with Google Ads. So if that's not a
Yes.
good motivator, I don't know what it is because that is a massive, massive window of opportunity that does not come around very often.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. And I did raise with this group that I was with, because Amazon's like a big threat for them.
Hmm.
Like, this is your opportunity to be found before they get to Amazon, let's say. And also like if they find you, they're that much higher to like convert, like the
Yes.
conversion rate's really high, right? So like it would be silly to not invest in this.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think what's interesting as well, like you see a lot of like the fashion brands and beauty brands, they're probably the other 50%. They're probably the 50% that see this as really important. But I think, where this is really going to start to make an impact is on functional products, those everyday
Yes.
products. Like even just the other day, I mean, I'm speaking as a customer here, not as somebody who works in e-commerce, but I went on ChatGPT to ask like a really nuanced question about a gardening product. I couldn't find the right one, and everything that I was seeing like was served up by Amazon, and I didn't end up clicking on any of those. Like this brand that I'd never heard of popped up, so they've obviously put in the work, and I'm finding that product.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for those companies those types of brands who might think, oh, well, it's not relevant for us. It's for all the sexy fashion and beauty brands, it is relevant. It's
yeah.
it's it's catching up with you fast.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about agentic commerce as part of our discussion. But one of the stats that came from Lead Summit was 50% of customers are already using AI for product discovery, to your point. And I do the same. Like, I barely go to Google anymore. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
scary how much the game has changed overnight. And we even see it on our own Share website of how many brands are coming from
yeah.
ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think it will also start bleeding into a topic which has been talked about a lot in the past, which is conversational commerce. But I think
Mm,
we're going to see that even more explode now. So even though, yes, having things set up for agentic is one path, when people land on your site now, gone are the days where they probably like use a search bar and punch in one word because then they know that's all they can use. Now it's longer tail queries, but the next level up now
yes.
is going to be an AI interface built into websites, which actually again will massively help with intent, but also means you need to get your product data
Yeah.
hot because it's going to
Yeah.
be hugely beneficial to you, not just for finding your website, but actually finding the things you want on a website. And yeah, that's just going to become an even bigger thing.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. It's like you're plugging for Nosto here, Nicole, but Nosto came to visit us last week,
We
and
did.
that's exactly what they're about to roll out. Funny
There
that
you
you they've already solved this problem for everybody. You just need to work with Nosto and Shero, of course. Okay, so let's pause on the AI piece, but like we're gonna come back to it with the agentic. Vermont's big into paid media, Meta, Google, I think they do Amazon as well. Um, I mean, we feel it on our end too with our PPC team that the ad spend is just dramatically increasing, and like we're not seeing as good of an ROI, but like it also depends on your business, of course, but like looking at the broader trends. So like Meta ad spend up 33%, Google up 11%, and UK consumer spend up 7%. So the gap is like not enough, right?
Yeah.
So, from those stats and those discussions, what are brands doing? Are they slowing down spend? Are like what's the word on the street? What's your takeaway?
Yeah, I think one key thing that came out of Pulse for me is that like performance marketing alone, it's no longer sufficient now to sustain
Yeah.
efficient growth. So the brands that are really kind of, pulling ahead have treated brand equity as an investment now. So it feels like we're kind of going back to old school
Oh,
marketing a little
nice.
bit. So yeah, it's more about what Nicole touched on earlier: storytelling, community, and emotional connection with that
Mm,
brand. That's starting to surpass anything that's going to come out of performance metrics alone. It's all the things that performance metrics they can't capture, things that you can't put in data. So yeah, that was a really interesting talk to sit in on, because I think in today's day and age you do walk into talks thinking there's going to be a lot of data in here, there's going to be a lot of stats. So that was quite refreshing to hear that the old school kind of storytelling is making a comeback.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I also think like I know people want to lean on AI, but I think people are onto that, or being authentic and like real creative is still gonna
Yeah.
like flourish because people can tell the difference. Like my daughter's just turned 15 and she's literally like, it's like a sticker and she's like, that's AI, it's garbage, get rid of it. It's like so funny
Yeah.
how she can
Yeah.
see it. I'm like, I wasn't even paying attention. Like, you know?
Yeah, that's funny.
So I think especially with like, brands that are very visually focused, like people are gonna see that and it will cheapen the brand, you
exactly.
know? So don't
It
worry,
will.
creatives, you're still gonna be employed.
Mhm.
No, I think it's just a different way of approaching it, right? Like it's workflow. Like if you can use AI to help you do more and do things more quickly, great. If you rely on it solely and you're going to start producing things which are very easily spottable, then that's not the way to go. And it might have a few quick wins, but to Emma's point, like brand like equity will be damaged in the long term. And
Yeah.
you can play the short game, like people do play the short game. But I think what you always see with these cyclical trends, no matter what topic it is, brand equity does always seem to come back out on top in some shape or format. SEO has been something that's been around for a long time. A lot of people sort of got onto paid spend instead. Now, what's really important? SEO, because AI is now reading your website and ingesting everything in very high speed. So again, I think it's trying to make the balance between a short-term win and a long-term plan, really.
Yeah, and our team at Shero, as you and Nicole and Emma know, we are hyper focused on the SEO, AEO aspects and have seen great results from that hard work. And it is very hard work. It's not like a silver bullet. It's consistency and like investing monthly. It's a lot, but like it does show up and we do see the results. It's amazing what our team has done with that. Okay, so our next topic is about agentic commerce. So I don't know, like I'm gonna come to Pulse, but let me start off with the parts that I am aware of from the OPI forum. They actually had a speaker that just literally spoke about agentic. And before I saw his speech, I kind of felt like agentic was moving along, but like it wasn't like as advanced. But when the speaker, his name was West, he showed real examples of B2B portals using agents where you could purchase. I was like, whoa, these are really happening in this industry already. Like I was quite impressed. And he helps build some of them. So it's pretty cool. But we're also seeing like how brands and consumers are using agents internally and externally, right? And just like how it's shaping everything. And in the past month, for everybody that's not up to date, Google released their universal cart. They released their AI optimization standards. And we have like a whole AI readiness report we've created if you haven't seen it on our website yet, but there's like a lot of great information there. And just, getting ahead of like how to be found through the LLMs and seeing that higher conversion. Because when you do show up, like Emma's example, you're more likely to click on that and like actually purchase and or stay on the website longer. It's just the nature of like the trust that we have with the LLM for some reason as a human being. So just kind of want to name that and call it out because a lot has changed. Like the UCP was released in January. Now we have the universal cart from Google. And they are definitely building this infrastructure that will continue to develop, I think, into the summer. So we'll see some bigger updates from Google and probably Shopify at .dev event in Toronto. But in the UK and EMEA, are you guys seeing as much advancement with brands thinking about agentic commerce? Is it being talked about? Is it being completed yet? Was that even a topic at Pulse? Just curious.
Yes, definitely a
Yeah.
topic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard
Just
cycle to the
curious.
topic. Anyway, you go, isn't it, these days? But yeah, I don't think there's any brands particularly far along with it. I think people are overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. People are scared, is the way I
Yeah,
would summarize what I heard from people. They're like terrified of this topic, but continue.
yeah, it's a lot to get your head around, and it's a completely different way of thinking. It's probably how people felt when www was born. People were like,
Right. That's crazy. You'll never buy anything
I would
online.
never buy anything online. And of course, now it's completely the opposite. I think, like, to your point earlier, the psychology of why people trust these chatbots are the chatbots of like, or the agentic agents are designed to understand you and to listen to you. And that's what every human's fundamental want and need is. So when you've got a
Yeah.
system like that can understand what you want and can clarify what you want and then can do these things on your behalf, you are innately going to trust that more. When you land on a website and it doesn't work exactly how you want it to work, it doesn't show you exactly what you want it to show you, you have to navigate around the site. I think that's a very fundamental difference in how people's shopping behaviors are going to change. And
Right.
it's going to take time, and it's some people are going to be light years ahead. Some people are going to be too far ahead for some customer types. Again, it really goes back to what is your brand? Like, I spoke to a brand 6 months ago now, their demographic is 50 plus. They don't really need to worry about agentic too much.
No, yeah.
Not really their sweet spot, and that's okay. But in 20 years' time, the people who are now 30s and 40s might want to buy from them. So they're going to have to make some inroads to cater for their future. But it's, I guess, depending on how soon that future is going to come around for you, it's how quickly you need to make these decisions and start pivoting. But yeah, everyone is typically overwhelmed and a bit unsure and doesn't want to, blow their paid budget on chat GPT and things like that right now.
Yeah.
But I think we'll start seeing that shifting in the near future.
Yeah, I think it's just something, and again, to your point, like I think it comes back to like your demographic and also your goals, right? Like what are you trying to achieve? But like there's a lot that's going to change in even the next 3-6 months, right? So just something to keep on your radar. So I think those were some of the highlights that I pulled out, but I would love to like open the floor if there were any other topics that you thought from Pulse that we should highlight that we didn't touch on yet.
I think from like speaking to some of the brands, like this wasn't included in any of the topics, but just catching up with clients, with some UK brands who I've worked with before, there seems to be some struggle at the moment around internationalization, which I thought quite interesting, because I can remember a few years ago when that was a hot topic, like that was the AI of its time. And it was just interesting to like hear that this is still a challenge, and some brands aren't really sure how to approach it. And there seems to be a particular pain point at the moment with UK brands wanting to internationalize into the US, and they're just a little bit stuck. Like, Nicole, I don't know if you came across that same thing speaking to people as well.
Yeah, it's always been difficult. Like, no matter where you are, to internationalize has always been difficult. But there is something to be said. Breaking into the US market is a beast of its own. The size and complexity, even looking at tax codes, is something that can scare most people off because they can change per street.
It's even scary for us Americans, guys. Taxes, who wants to deal with that?
Exactly. So yeah, it's a completely new demographic. It's a completely new way of people experience online shopping. I'd say like even website design is hugely different in the US compared to the UK. Typically, like there is a lot more focus typically in the UK. So yeah, it's always been a sticking point. Not many brands quite want to do it. A lot of people probably do it through like your Amazon and softly launch through a new territory. But yeah, it's always been a hard one, I think, for people. It's getting easier. Like tooling has become better. Shopify is well built for internationalization. But then there's everything else after that. Like, how do you even ship it across the world and make sure it arrives okay and doesn't get caught up in duties and imports? And yeah, it's a lot of complexity built in. I mean, Globally is probably the best example of someone that would fix all those things. But it's still a risk, right, to a business. So yeah, I think for me, the different topic that came up, and again has been one that comes up quite frequently, is probably the post-purchase experience. Like everybody focuses, rightly so, on getting the first purchase or the second or the third or the most, however many it takes to become a loyal customer. But what happens after that is sometimes overlooked because everyone is so concentrated on that first, getting across the line. So there was a lot of topic around being able to even just edit your order within the first 15 minutes. That's become massively enabled thanks to order editing. It's a huge advantage for brands. I think a lot of frustration from even me personally, but after I've made that purchase, everything that happens afterward is more of a frustrating experience most of the time than everything that happens before. And that can be shipping, that can be returns, exchanges, customer support. Like that is, I'd say, where a lot of loyalty goes to die, and people factor that in.
Yeah.
Some of like the bigger brands who were speaking at Pulse as well, like Selfridges, which I guess would be the UK version of US as like Macy's or Bloomingdale's. They were talking about trialing this 4-day return period. So what So what would happen is the customer submits the refund, and before that even arrives at that warehouse, they refund them the money. And they were going to trial this in terms of loyalty as well. So if this is a customer who's made like multiple purchases, they would refund that money like back into their account. So yeah, like I think a lot of like the bigger brands, they're certainly looking at their return strategy right now. I think they're well aware that it's a pain point for a lot of customers, and it's a strategy where they can improve repeat purchases and get customers coming back for more.
Yeah, I also saw in the notes that some brands are charging for those returns. Is that
Yes.
like a new thing, or is that like a common thing in the UK?
It's quite
Rel-
common.
Well,
Yeah.
it's relatively common, but it is relatively new, I would say. I'd say the last year or two is where it started.
Okay.
Like ASOS, which is maybe not so well known in the US, but very big
No,
here.
yeah.
They began to do that. However, it is based on not only your loyalty, but your return rate. So if you
Oh,
return less than 40% of what you order, your returns are free. If you go above that, then you need to start paying. So it's an interesting model, but I think it's because a lot of people do order a lot when you shop online, and you're not necessarily thinking about how difficult these things are to return. So yeah.
yeah. Just to like piggyback off that, Richmond gave me an interesting stat from Lead Summit that for one of the brands that he saw, 3% of the revenue had 16% of the return costs. So also just kind of thinking through that like whole flow that you're talking about, like just focusing on that data and understanding like what percentage of people are returning, to your point of like the strategy, and do you charge them or not, I think is very valid. Because if it's a very, a certain group of people returning a lot, you might have the opportunity to charge. I don't think it's as common in the US. Maybe during COVID or after, it was maybe more of a thing to have fees of sorts, but a
Yes.
lot of that has been removed. And in the US at least, because people are just like a little fatigued, but fees do still exist.
Yeah. You've also
But we're
got,
so used to Amazon experience where you don't even pay for shipping that people are a bit spoiled, you know?
you've got some solutions like Loop Returns as well, who are trying to change the narrative a little bit, so you get credited to respend within the store.
Oh, that's a
So
nice one
it's,
to get them in the store, and then they'll probably buy something else
yeah,
anyways.
exactly. So it's and you get the money straight away. You're not waiting 7 days and hoping that the postman does it correctly. So it's more of an incentivization, not to lose your revenue through returns. Yeah.
Awesome. And then just to go back to Emma, the internationalization that you raised, another parallel with the Lead Summit discussion, Rent the Runway, which is a great fashion brand that I use. But I wasn't there. I wish I could have met them. But anyways, a lot of European companies use them as like a test ground, to see how their product will perform in the US.
That's clever.
So there are other creative ways to try that, because they have all the logistics down. They are like so on it. Like once you submit your order, you literally get it like the next day, like so quickly. I'm like always so impressed with their logistics. It's so impressive, even before you return it, like your next order. So I think it's like just getting creative with that internationalization. Like, who can you partner with to test the waters to see what will perform well, is also something to think about. Besides, like the platform that gives you more capability, so you don't have to worry as much about logistics,
Yeah,
is
and I
another
think
thought.
that kind of like platform, it's available across different verticals as well. So I think Rent the Runway, that's where you rent out like expensive things to wear for like a certain occasion, probably like designer wear and things.
Yes. But they're broadening it. Like you can also get everyday wear. You can get shoes now. I think they're gonna do swimsuits. They do jewelry. They do bags.
Nice.
So I use it like, because I do so many events. I don't like, it drives me nuts to buy one outfit and wear it once to an event. But also then you have it for like if I have a gala, or I can buy like a very nice dress that I could never afford,
Mhm.
and then just return it.
I'm not sure how I feel about the swimwear version. For
I
the
don't
rest,
know either. I'm a little bit unsure about that, but I just thought I'd raise it. It's a new thing that
yeah.
they're putting out there. But
And
you
it is
can buy it at a discount. So if you love it, you're probably going to buy
amazing.
it.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's cool.
I think there's like one that I've heard of as well called Bugaboo, which is where you can rent like equipment for babies. So say you're like sitting for the weekend, you can rent a pram. So like this example is becoming like much more popular
I
across
think
the
it's very smart because it's like,
so
especially with
smart.
kid stuff, they grow out of it like so quickly, or you only use the pram for how long? You know what I mean? Like I mean, I still have,
Yeah.
my son's going to be 4 and I still have baby stuff in my house. It drives Genty nuts. Like if there was an easier way to do it, yeah, for sure. I'm all on board. And also I think based on like generational differences, like younger, I don't know, I'm just speaking holistically. Like I know from my daughter, she loves thrifting. She doesn't want to buy new. She wants to buy used stuff because she's very mindful about sustainability, and like also
Yeah.
just like getting a good deal, and like just, everybody's kind of thinking about things in a different way now, I think, and we just have to think about those in our business, right? Like who is your customer? How do they think? What do they want to see? And yeah, you can create these really cool business models from it.
Yeah, circular commerce, isn't it? It's becoming a bigger thing, right? So I think you'll see a lot more brands taking that ownership back and paying people to return things that they no longer want and
Mm.
create circular.
Exactly. Yeah. I think there are a couple brands already doing that. I can't
Yeah.
remember which ones, but I've heard on podcasts. And it's pretty cool. Okay, so we are coming up on time. We have some questions, some Q&A. Oh, here we go. What brands are currently working in efforts to scale?
Ooh, good question. I
Mm,
think for the most part, it is either AI. Okay. It's they're making some headway. It might not be a finished product, but most people are turning some of their attention to that. And then the other one I'm hearing more and well, I say more and more, it's always around, is CRO. It never dies. It's
mm-hmm.
always 1 in 3 conversations someone's mentioning CRO. I think people are finding CAC's too expensive. What can we do with what we've got? How can we improve our conversion pathways? Even in paid adverts, like how can we split test? How can we test? How can we optimize?
Yeah, it's just getting so much easier to do A/B testing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And the AI, like all of it combined, it's like you can just be so much more agile and do way more tests. So
100%.
it makes a lot of sense.
I
Yeah.
think another thing on that one is around like tech stacks. Like a lot of brands, e-commerce brands, like trying to reduce the complexity of their tech stack.
Mm-hmm.
And really looking at that total cost of ownership as well. Like sometimes, we've spoken to brands, we've had examples where they're paying like a lot of money on their current tech stack, and there's certain
Yes.
that they can make, and then they can reinvest that money, and that's how they grow. That's how they scale. So yeah, sometimes it's about looking at your, it sounds a bit dull and boring, but looking at your operational efficiency as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah, and also with the AI piece, which actually I think I have a question here. Maybe I can answer it with this one. For anyone who hasn't taken a step yet on AI or agentic, what is the one thing you should do today to get started? Okay, yeah, this is actually connected to what I was going to say. Funny enough. So this came up a lot at OP Forum because they were like, it's the chicken before the egg. Like, do I invest in making sure we improve operational efficiencies, or like we have to keep selling? So we need to make sure our website's recognized by LLMs. So, the other piece to think about this when you're thinking about it is make sure that you have someone that's owning it, your AI strategy, and that it's on your P&L. So like you have a budget that's going to be put towards this. I think that's like the number one thing you got to like sort out before you do anything, so that you can figure out your strategy and where you're going with it. Because if your CEO is not in line with this, it's never going to happen. And in many of the conversations have had, even in the past 6 months, it tends to get siloed. Like one part of the team is using Claude, the other team's using Gemini, and like nothing's connecting and working well together. So like just getting aligned on like what you're going to use and like integrating the proper things and clean data, obviously. But the strategy, I think, can be like a major deal breaker if you don't do it properly.
Yeah. And not for this to be like a shameless sell or anything, but like we offer like an agentic readiness audit as well. So if you're not sure where to start, if it is like really kind of overwhelming, then agencies like us, we can run an audit for you, and we can give you a score out of 100 and show you like exactly the things where you might be falling short on, and we can support you with that if you are struggling.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the plug, Emma.
You're welcome.
Okay, one more question. AI, paid media, and agentic commerce. Which of these themes feels most urgent right now? Oof.
Big question.
Well, I think they're all connected to some degree.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody's ears. Maybe one that's not on here is the brands, like making sure your brand authority and story is accurate, right? Because it all kind of trickles down from there. That's kind of my initial thought, but what do you guys think?
No, I would agree. I think all of these things they're equally as important. There's not one that's more urgent than the other. They all tie into one another. But you know, there was a lot of talk. This came out of Pulse as well about really just focusing on your North Star. What is a reason a brand exists? What is a problem you're trying to solve? Like focus on that first, and then you can start thinking more about how you're going to take the brand forward in the future with all like these new technologies and strategies that are coming into play. I think your most urgent thing is always why your brand exists.
I love that. Yeah. Know your why. Simon Sinek.
I'll use that one next time, Beth.
Okay, so I think we hit all our major topics. But you guys have a couple of events coming up. Why don't you talk about the events you're going to be at in case there's anyone in the area that might want to join in?
Yeah, we've got quite a few. Remember, got Shot Talk Barcelona next week. So that will be a couple of days in central Barcelona, and then lots of partners, lots of brands around. Yeah, lots of AI discussion, I'm sure, will be the main theme, and a couple of games of paddle. They seem to be the two commerce things right now. And then we've also got .dev, right, Emma?
Yeah, .dev coming up in Toronto. That's towards the end of July, 21st till the 23rd of July. I think that one is. So that's like the big Shopify event that you're going to want to be at. Lots on like their product roadmap and everything. So yeah, we're going to get first looks at that, which is quite exciting.
And we've got
Very exciting.
Just remember Digital Conference.
Oh yeah, Digital.
Yeah, the Digital Summit as well. Yeah, so we're going to be speaking there. Our director of innovation is going to be there talking about AI. Funnily enough.
Go figure.
He's got a very
Who would have guessed?
take around. You shouldn't treat AI as a channel. It needs to be a river within your organization, which is not a fresh take, but I think something that does get missed a lot, which I think is quite eye-opening. So if you're in
Wait, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you. So it shouldn't be a channel, it should be a what?
It should be a river that flows throughout your entire organization.
Oh, I love that visual in my mind. I'm like,
so yeah, it should be the intelligence layer that underpins everything, and then agentic is just a channel, like paid as a channel. It's
right.
Not the be all and end all. The AI river is the be all.
Yep.
So yeah,
it's a good way of looking at it. And at that event as well, if you are UK based and you're interested in being there, we do have some tickets that we can give out. But also we're going to be offering complimentary AI readiness audits as well for anyone who comes to the stand and has a chat with us. So if that is something that you are interested in, yeah, come along and have a chat to us.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate you joining. I know how busy you both are. Before we wrap up today, any final remarks or anything you want to leave all our guests with? Or we
Ooh, I
feel
feel
like
like
we covered most of it.
I already dropped the River AI piece. That was the mic drop moment, I think.
That's your mic
I
drop.
think
Got
mine
it.
was like the
Okay.
North Star one. I should have mic dropped that.
I love
I
it.
missed my moment.
All good. Okay, and I know this is a wrap. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate your time, and I hope you took some little golden nuggets that you can run with. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm Beth Shero. Always be learning.